I think I've mentioned this brand before. I know I have. It's a brand made in Germany, and it's Vitex made in Germany. Well, I didn't know it was common. I happened across this sandpaper in my garage. When I bought my garage, the sandpaper and all that sandpaper was in it. And I've actually got this on Craigslist right now, trying to sell it. And I did have a couple of people interested, but none bothered to, reconnect. They said they were thinking about it. One guy said he might come by, and he never did. So I may just end up keeping it or donating it to somebody that's doing carpentry. Or anyway, I'll down the road I'll figure something out. Anyway. Here's that Vitex stuff that I said I liked. It came just like this in that size. And it's been great for finishing handles, the wood handles. And I said, man, if I run out of this, and I will someday, I'll look for this company. Well, here they are. Red Label Abrasives had a clearance sale on these belts. And 2x42 belts are expensive. This is $180. I think I'm going to like it. So it's made by that company, Vitex, in Germany. So I think I'm probably going to like them. And these were only $3 a piece, and I bought 6 of them. They come as a unit, a six piece price. And they were on clearance. I wish I'd bought another package or 2 of them because they're the grit I use commonly. And they're a brand that I like. Let's see, who am I at here? That's 120. So I will put the 180 there. And who is this? This is 180. I'm going to put the 180 right here. There we go. All right, as soon as it warms up in here, I got that heater going and this heater going. So a few more minutes and it'll be warm enough for me to take my jacket off. It's like 35 degrees in here. And I do not do cold well at all. So this is Jeff's blade here. And I'm fixing to get started sanding the grind lines off of it. He wants a satin finish on it. This is his burled, stabilized cherry handles that I put white oak liners on. They're going to look nice. It's going to look really nice. So, and the reason I had to put liners on is because they're kind of thin, and they weren't level. So I had to sand some off to make them level. Here's what I found out, trial and error. You can't drill these. You can't drill. Here's what I do. This is not his knife, but just for instructional purposes. If these pieces aren't square with each other and the top isn't, if everything's not square and level, when you drill down through these pinholes, by the time you put one blade here and one handle there and then one handle here, you have holes that aren't completely, I guess the word is perpendicular to the surface of the handle, and the pins won't go in. And I'm working with 5-minute epoxy, and believe me, they're lying. It's more like 3-minute epoxy. DevCon, I've switched over to DevCon like what Ricky uses. And the other day I had something happen that it turned out it was okay, but I made a mistake on some handles. And fortunately, it was just like this, except with no liner, and both sides were just as good. So it didn't make any difference. But I couldn't have, if I did have a liner on it, what happened was I put it on upside down like this instead of like this. But it didn't matter because here's why. My pinholes were all straight and the front edge of my knife handles were straight. And it was the first knife I had done with a straight nose of the knife handles instead of rounding them off a little like I usually do. I just wanted to see what it looked like. And if it had not been that handle, I would have totally had to screw up and throw that wood away. and it was my only piece. So what I'm getting at is I'm going to be moving to another two-part epoxy called G-Flex, and the reason is it's a 12-hour cure. So you have plenty of time. There's no hurry. You have plenty of time to lay out your knife and your handles, mix your epoxy up, and get your pins in just perfect. And what I want to do is, the pins have a design inside them, and I want to make all my pins line up with a design facing in the right direction. I know it's, probably nobody would ever notice that, but I do, and it's just one of the things I want to do better at. It's a simple thing, but I can't spend the time to line all the pins up with the DevCon epoxy because you have to work so quick to get these handles together in order for the epoxy to actually work. I mean, you can be too late, and then the epoxy doesn't hold the handles well enough. So that is a lot of talking for one fat guy. All right, it's almost warm enough in here for me to take my jacket off and get to sanding. There's Steve's knife. That's next. This is the wood he's getting. This is the most expensive wood I've ever bought, and it's probably the nicest wood I've ever bought. And I would put it on par with the stabilized Honduran rosewood that I just did for Glenn. So this is going to be high polished. I'm really looking forward to getting started on that. It's going to be a lot of work, but I can do it, and I know how to do it. It's just time consuming. It may take me, a week or more to get it sanded down the way it has to be sanded, but it's okay. I'll do a little bit every day. So let me get started. You ready to see what $200 worth of sandpaper looks like? 200, a little more. It's like 230. And I am buying the good stuff. This is the good stuff. I was down to a couple sheets of 1,000. That's 1,000. I got all kinds of sandpaper in here. Let me get them out. This is my wood sanding. The blue is for sanding wood. The red is for sanding metal. Just this was that much. $15 freaking. I could have bought this through Amazon, but Amazon Prime, free shipping, but it was even more. So that $53 right there. And the rest of this was just a tick under 200. And let me show you just one knife, Jeff's knife, Jeff in Montana. That's all I've used so far. This was empty when I started. And when I get it out of the oven, I just heat treated it. When I get it out of the tempering oven, I got to bring it back here and start at 400, 500, then 600. So I probably have another 4 or 5 sheets of sandpaper to use. That's why I go through it so quick. And that is why there's a minimum that I have to ask for my knives just to break even. I would love to give these knives away to anybody that wanted one, but just sandpaper alone is hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I didn't count the belts I got earlier this morning. Those were probably $20 on sale. And the belts that I grind the bevels on, I probably get 2 or 3 knives out of each belt. Those are $7 or $8 a piece. And same thing over here on this smaller one. That 36 by 4. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. Anyway, that's why I have to charge for my knives, because I can't make them if I don't. I'd never be able to afford this hobby if I didn't sell them. Heck, steel, that's where my steel is, and I'm getting low on steel. These are my brass rods. One mosaic pin, one is about $25. And out of that, I get 1, 2, 3 knives with a little left over. Gonna sneeze again, so that's it. I'll show you Glenn's knife when I get it all. When I put it on my Scotch-Brite wheel, after I get it out of the oven, 400, 500, then 600, and then I go to the Scotch-Brite wheel. Here are his handles with white oak liners. And I may have these on today. I'm not sure. Depends how much sanding I got to do when I get it out of the tempering oven. Speaking of sandpaper, I'm going to tell you a quick funny story. I put all that sandpaper there on Craigslist, and that's a lot of sandpaper. And I was only asking $50. That's two. Anyway, it's a ton of sandpaper. And I put it on Craigslist, and this guy, and in my Craigslist ad, I put text only, because I don't like people calling me. I like to text, because I can answer at my leisure, and when it's convenient. I don't have to stop doing anything or shut a machine down and answer the phone. So I don't want people calling me, and I make that clear in my ads, text only. So the guy calls me. And he said, do you have that sandpaper for sale? I said, yes, I do. And he goes, well, I want to buy them 2 rolls of sandpaper, which is them 2 right there. But I don't want the rest of it. And I said, well, I want to sell all of it. If I can't sell all of it in one package, I'll just keep it. Somebody will want it. And he goes, well, okay, what would you want for just the 2 rolls? I said, I don't want to sell just the 2 rolls. And he says, well, I have a 93 Ford pickup truck that I'm going to take right back down to the bare metal and repaint it and blah, 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 blah. So how much would you want for the 2 rolls? I said, okay, I'll sell you both rolls for $50, which is what I was asking for all the sandpaper. And he hung up on me. That's weird. The guy was trying to argue me into selling just the 2 rolls, and I don't want to sell just the 2 rolls. I want to sell it all. If I don't sell it all, look, I put it all right back up there. It's not bothering nothing sitting up top there. And since then, I've added a little more to it. See the stuff on top? That's 320. What it was 320 emery cloth that came in a roll, like that box that says 60 on it. And I cut it into like 10-inch lengths, and it was still, I was really trying to work my way through it, and it was 320, but I just couldn't do it. So I went and I bought some 320 here. It's easier to work with. Alrighty, that was my sandpaper story. About another 20 minutes and Glenn's knife will be out of the oven, and I'll get to work cleaning it up. And I just might get the handles epoxied on today. Wouldn't that be something? All that work in one day. I've been out here since early this morning, and it's getting to be late in the afternoon.